Hi, everybody.
Hello, I'm Ryan.
I'm Bethany.
And we are Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews.
And today we're going to talk about Genotype, and this is a game published by Genius Games.
All right, so in this game, basically it's a worker placement game where you are monks. And
Love it.
you are gardening.
Yes. It's like, this is what I used to dream about when I was a child. Side note, when I was 9, I thought I could grow up to be Balto.
I thought I was going to be a German Shepherd, actually.
This is why we're married.
Is Balto a German Shepherd?
No, but he's a dog.
Yeah.
Wolf thing.
I was like, if I can only aspire to be a German Shepherd.
Yeah. So back to monks.
But you are more than just monks gardening. You are actually the discovering genetics, modern genetics, as we know that by doing all this gardening. You are mixing all these different plants. You are combining them in order to get certain desired results, whether you want your pea pods to be wrinkled or smooth, or whether you want them to be purple flowers or white flowers, or whatever the case is. You're using those Punnett squares, but actually gamified in a real interesting way. So yeah, let me show you what it looks like on the table. All right, here is our setup for Genotype. This game is all about trying to manipulate the dice, use the dice in order to fulfill certain plant requirements. So if we kind of zoom in over here, we can see that, let's say, this plant over here, this one on the far right, it's going to require a capital F and a lower F, and then two lowercase g's in order to complete that plant. So that's going to be resolved in the second phase of the game. The first phase of the game is where you place all your actions. We're going to skip that for now, and we're going to go right to the second phase of the game, which is where we roll all these dice off to the side here and place them wherever they go. So for instance, as an example, let's roll these. It's all about these Punnett squares over here. All right, so if we ever see one of these symbols, this is the de novo mutations symbol. We're going to re-roll that once. All right, and it happened. If it had landed on one of these numbers like these other ones, we would have placed it wherever it goes. But if it rolls a second time onto that de novo mutation spot, it's going to go into the de novo mutation spot on the board. All right, so then for the rest of these dies, we've got 2 2s and 2 4s. We're going to go over to our chart and read what that means. So for instance, the 2s, in this case, is where this capital T and this lower t meet up. So that's going to be right there. Capital T, lower t. And then we've got these 4s over here. These 4s are where the lowercase t and the lowercase t meet up. So this is going to go in this, 2 lowercase t's right there. And it's all has to do with all the science of the different mutations in genetics. So, for instance, the capital T has to do with a tall plant. The lowercase t has to do with a short plant. So, if you had, 2 capital T's, that would indicate a dominant gene in the height plant. If you had 2 lowercase, that would be a recessive gene, a double recessive gene of the short plant. And then obviously this is the kind of the mixture of the two. And then so that's how all the genetics work. But not all genetics is, quite that perfect. There's always mutations involved. And so that's kind of what that represents there, the different mutations that can occur. All right, so I'm going to show you our player board now, just kind of give you a feel for what that looks like. This is our player board. Basically, you're going to have different plants growing over here. You're going to draft those plants, place them here, and you're going to try to draft the dice that match the symbols that you need in order to grow those particular plants exactly as required. Now you start off with only 3 spots for your dice. You can only accomplish 3 of those things at a time. So for instance, all right, so we've got a plant here, we'll place it there. And let's say, well, it's perfect. There's one of those, these a small TT. We can draft one of these dice during that second phase, place it in one of our open dice spots, take a leaf, and cover that up, showing that we've met that requirement. There's additional ways that you can get some extra dice besides just the starting 3, and I'll show you that later. Now that we kind of know why we're getting the dice, what we're getting the dice for, and how to roll them, let's go over the different actions in the game. First one is the treasury. Way up top here, we've got the treasury. You just go there and you take 2 of those coins. It can be very, very helpful. We've also got the university. That's a place where you can just go pay some money and just straight up just place one of those leaves on one of your plants. That can be really helpful, especially if there's a hard to get trait that you need. You can go to the nursery to get some more of those plant cards. You can place either from the face up pile or the face down. There's also a tool shed. There's always some face-up tools there that you can take from. Those can be really helpful things like drawing extra plants, getting extra money. This one just says just take one of those leaves and put it down. So a whole different variety of special abilities that you can get from the tool shed. All right, so that's this side of the page. On this side of the page over here, you have some ways that you can actually manipulate the board. So for instance, if you were to place your action marker up here, that says you get to take one of these tiles and place it on top of the board. Remember, at this point in the round, we haven't actually rolled these dice yet. I kind of went out of order on purpose. So let's say we really were looking to get capital T's. We really needed a tall plant. We would place that there. So now when we roll the dice, we have a much higher chance of getting those capital T's. And then later on in a future round, we can even go back, place even more. And then it basically guarantees that you'd have all tall plants rolled. The 1, 2, 3, 4 all would have the same result of the double capital T's. The only way to get around that is, again, a mutation, which I'll show you that in just a moment. Rolling the dice basically symbolically shows the percentages that might happen if, let's say, a tall plant was crossbred with a short plant, and you'd have all the different range of things that would happen there as a result. Or, the same thing with the green plants versus the yellow pea pods, and all that would go there as well. But let's say, because the short ones are so rare, they're that recessive gene, maybe you really, really need to make sure that you get there first. Just in case that one of those gets rolled, you're the one who gets it because they are so rare. In that case, you might want to go to that first shift location. We're going to take turns drafting all these different dice from all these different categories. But if you really, really need a specific thing and you really want to beat everybody else to it, you probably want to go to that first shift area. And there's also one coin on each one of these colors, on each one of these traits. The first person to either take that action or that action is going to be able to take that coin and put it in their supply. There's also what they call a second shift action down here at the very bottom corner. That kind of allows you, maybe you go after the first shift person in order to draw, to draft your dice, but it's before the general population gets to start taking whatever they want. So it's still a way to kind of make sure you get something that you need. We've also got some set research goals down here. So that if you go down there, you're going to pay some money. Actually, use the purple one here. What you do is you get to place one of these circles on a certain characteristic. So talking again about tall and short, let's say we go here. We put that there, showing we've done research on short plants. At the end of the game, we're going to get 3 points for every plant that has that short, that double recessive T trait. So you want to try to, once you have that down, you really want to kind of go after as many of those lowercase t's as possible. Or you can kind of wait till the end of the game. Maybe the board might have filled up a little bit by then, but you can kind of look at all of the cards, all the plants that you've done and say, what have I done the most of? I've done the most wrinkled seed shapes. Okay, then cool. Then that's where I'll do my research at. But, it's also a good idea to do them early before the board is filled up, and then you can kind of sift through, try to find those things that match that up later on. Also on our player board, there's some actions as well. The main one is the gardening up here. This is super important. This is where you actually, make your plants happen. So remember, you've got some garden plots over here. You might have some additional ones as well. But when you do the gardening action, first of all, you get to take a free either plant or tool. Then, any of your plants that you have that are completed, you get to take those off. And then you get to plant as many as you want with the garden plots. So that's the main action you're going to do on the garden plot. However, there's also this temporary dice slot. So if you were to put one of your action markers here, you would now for that round and that round only, you'd have 4 dice spots instead of just the normal 3. So those are the actions you can do with your player map. So once all players have placed all of their action markers, then you go to the die phase, you roll all those dice for all the different traits, place them wherever they go based off of the Punnett squares that we've created here. Remember, some of these might have been modified already. Some of them maybe have been untouched, like the greens here have been just, the normal ratio of all the different things that are going to come out. Then we're going to basically go to the first shifts first, take the dies, then you're going to go to the second shift, and then everyone's going to get a chance to kind of take whatever they want in turn order. All right, so the next thing that we're going to do is we are going to go to what's called the research upgrade phase. And that is this section over here. I'm actually going to move my camera a little bit so you guys can see that better. All right, so the research upgrade phase, this goes in reverse turn order now. All the prices are across the top there, so we got 1 through 5. And it's kind of a little abacus thing here, but there's things you can buy new plots of land, buy new dice slots, get new action markers, or hire assistants. And all those items are kind of up over here. If you were to buy a new plot of land, you just take this, put it next to your board, you would you pay the price there and then move it up. So if anyone else wanted to, the price would now be higher. You could pay three coins there in order to get a new action marker, and you'd have that for the rest of all the rounds, which is why it's a little bit more expensive, because it is very, very strong. You can also hire assistants. All the assistants are over here. There are all these different, monks and sisters and brothers and all those kinds of things from the monastery that we're working at. They can do special abilities for you, like give you discounts. This is an extra action spot where you get to roll some dice. This actually gives you more dice slots as well, but you have to pay for them. So there's a ton of different special abilities you can get from those assistants. Once everyone has had a chance to buy, then everything is going to go down in price at the end of the round. At that point, the round is over. You're going to pass the first player marker, which is this awesome spade thing. And you are going to clear off all the plants that you see, all the different tools that are on the board, and you reset. You're ready to go for the next round. At that point, you start all over again. You place your actions, you roll your die, then you draft from the research abilities, and then you reset. The game is going to last 5 rounds. The points are going to come from the plants themselves, the numbers at the top there across your plants, and then you're also going to get points from your research markers that you have down below here as well. You're going to get some leftover pity points for any plants that you have partially completed and any leftover coins that you have not spent. You add all that up, and whoever has the most amount of points wins the game.
Oh my goodness. There's so much I like about this game. There's just so much I like about this game. Did I tell you that there's so much I like about this game?
You did.
You know what? There's just so much I like about this game. I'm going to let Ryan say something specific because I am just gushing over this.
All right, so I'm going to start with the theme. I love unique themes in games. And how about that, monasterian gardening for a theme? Not a theme you see every day, and I really enjoyed it, to be honest. It, bled through so well to the cover art, to the different tools and the different monks and stuff, and the priests or whatever on the assistant cards. How everything just kind of had that look to it, and just what a cool theme. And not only the theme itself, but that little slice of history and discovering, genetics and how combining all those different things to get those desired results. Just what a cool theme. I really enjoyed that.
I like that you can't really ignore anything in this game. So you really do have to spend the time to get the extra action markers, to get the extra slots, get the assistants, but also you need to manipulate the board so you can get the genes that you want for your pea plants. And I really like games to where either you can take different routes to victory, or you have to dabble in a little bit of everything. So the games that have these are how you win and this is whatever, I didn't feel like this game had it. I felt like this game had it to where you really needed to dabble in everything if you wanted a chance.
Yes, what I look for in games is good choices. Good, fun decision-making every turn. And you had that in this game.
Definitely.
Whether you wanted to modify the board a little bit. Maybe you wanted to make sure that you had first choice of the dice. Maybe you wanted to get extra plants. Maybe you wanted to do some gardening. Maybe you wanted to earn some money. You had all these different things that you could do. And the board kind of opened up as you had more players as well. So it was balanced in that way. You had more actions if you had more players. I just felt like every round, there was never a bad decision I could make. There was something cool I could do with all of my actions.
And let me just say that the upgraded coins and bits in general, but specifically the coins, were amazing.
Yeah, so if you have the chance to pick up those extra goods.
Yeah, the coins were really detailed. I am convinced, just because it's who Genius Games is as a company, I am convinced that that's genuine to a coin you would have found at this monastery.
Yeah, so that was the Austrian Empire?
Sure.
In the mid 1800s?
Yeah.
It's probably the Austrian coins.
I haven't looked it up because I just haven't, but I'm thinking it's probably a replica.
And even if it's not, they still look cool.
Well, that's the thing. Even if it's not, it made me think it was. So that's how awesome it is.
True. All right, so speaking of those coins, I would say the money in this game is super important. In our plays, and we played it quite a few times, in our plays, I don't think that you have a shot at winning if you don't focus on money. And get some kind of, some money in little ways in this game. If you ignore acquiring money, you are probably going to struggle. Yeah. And that could be a good thing or a bad thing. It's just a super, super scarce resource, just like in real life. So whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, I'll leave it up to you, but it's a scarce resource that needs to be spent wisely and earned whenever you can.
So here's the thing on my like overall thoughts. There are games you play that even when you're winning, you're like, I'm not enjoying this. And then there are games that you play that even while you are losing over and over and over and over again, you're just loving it. I have not won this game once, but I enjoyed it so much. It is definitely staying. I am keeping it. I mean, we're keeping it. You and I, both of us together.
As long as I still get to play it.
Yeah. I mean, this is definitely staying in our collection.
I think that Genius Games just does such a great job of taking a scientific concept that may be, let's be honest, a little boring or a little, not something you think about every day, and making a game that is super full of those of modern board game mechanisms, and not just slapping a science theme on Trivial Pursuit or on a whatever it is. It's an educational game, but it's not. It's a game with educational value as opposed to an educational game that sucks. So I mean, like, knowing about Punnett squares and all that stuff, I had a great time learning about that stuff when I was in chemistry and biology, mostly biology. But having that refresher, everything just made so much sense. I think that, classrooms can really benefit from this. I know we'll be teaching, using this game for our daughters. It's probably a little much for them now as 4 and 7-year-olds. But, when it comes time for those biology, Punnett squares classes and stuff, we're going to be busting this out, and it's going to come alive for them.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
So, yeah, I just love Genius Games' this whole concept, and I think that this game is, out of all the ones I've played, which is a fair number.
Yeah, that's your favorite. Yeah.
This has got to be my favorite. This is just a great game, and it's probably because I love worker placement. But what a great worker placement game! It's so good. It's fun. I like it.
There's bad worker placement games. So.
Is there though? Yes, there is. It's true.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, of course there is. But everybody, thank you so much for watching it. Don't forget to subscribe so you can see our videos as they come out. And make sure to stay tuned to the very end for our Pounds and Inches segment. But until then, you can follow us on Facebook. We're Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews. On Twitter, we are Ryan and Bethany 1. And on Instagram, we are Ryan and Bethany.
All right, you guys, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for staying tuned to the very end for our Pounds and Inches segment. I just wanted to talk about really quick about going slow right now. So I am trying to rebuild my base. I do this every year because I just don't run in the winter, and then the spring happens and I'm like, well, I gotta start running again. But I can't do what I was doing when I stopped running in the fall. And I am really proud of myself because I have really reined it in to go slow, so that way I am not burnt out. I've not been in any pain. I've been going a limited amount of miles, and instead of building, I just keep doing that. And like the first week it was rough, but the past 2 weeks I'm still doing that, and now I'm going to feel confident in building on that. So I just want to encourage you out there, if you're starting a workout regimen, start slow so you're consistent, so you don't burn out and give up.
All right, well, very cool. You guys, thanks for watching, and as always, we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.